Well, Rodger Baker is Vice President of the Strategic Analysis at Stratfor, which is a geopolitical intelligence program. Rodger, welcome to the program. The media is getting very excited about this, particularly here in the West. What do you make of it all?
Well, one, we don't know when the construction or supposed construction started. It may have actually been going on before the summit. Secondarily, if you look at the two facilities, Yongbyon and the Seohae launch facility, both of these are ones that were potentially up for very public destruction after the summit. So it may be that some of the construction that we're seeing, rather than about rehabilitating the facilities, may have been to give them a facelift before the media got to watch them be destroyed. Right. And that's what we're not sure of at this phase.
And it may be a naive question from me, but I mean, could the analysts just have got it wrong? You know, could they just be misreading what they think they're seeing?
Well, I mean, if you listen, many of the U.S. analysts are saying this is clearly the North Koreans demonstrating that they can restart missiles. Many of the South Korean analysts are saying, no, this is actually more an example of the North Koreans just sprucing up the place before the media comes in to expect them before they destroy them and make a big show of them. So I think that some of this does come down to interpretation. And some of it's going to come down to trying to understand North Korean motivation as to whether or not the North is going to want to move forward with the opening up, or whether they're going to go back to what the U.S. would call a belligerent posture.
Well, and they must be well aware that the United States can see everything that they're doing. They know that, don't they?
Well, the North Koreans have been very adept at being able to understand U.S. satellite imagery, U.S. satellite passes, and being able to watch and monitor, and they know that. So they are not surprised at all that the U.S. would see this, but quite frankly, if the North Koreans were sending a signal that was a negative signal, they would show it off to the satellites just as much as if they were not worried about this as being seen as a negative signal.
Well, I was going to say to you, do you think this could possibly be something to do with sprucing the site up for their space program, which is something that they have referred to in the past and would be considerably less dangerous as far as the West is concerned?
I think the challenge on that, and while they do think about the space program and satellite launch, and they do say they have the right to do that, the challenge is that at this phase, any type of launch that's going to be seen as potentially contributing to the ICBM, the long-range missile capacity, is going to pretty much shut down any of the potential openings they have with the United States. So if they want to ease back into talks with the U.S., they will refrain from any new launch.
Right. I do just want to be clear, though, this site that we're talking about has never been used for the launch of a ballistic missile, has it? Which is the one that gets everybody very exercised.
Well, the North Koreans have been shifting their ballistic missile launches to road mobile systems anyway, so these large platforms, even if they were used as testing, say, a space launch vehicle that could provide technology for an ICBM, these would never or would be unlikely to be used for an actual military application because of the very visibility of them, and the launch time, the setup time before launch, makes them something that could be struck long before they get off the ground.
So is it a black eye in any way for President Trump, any kind of punishment for walking away last week?
I'm not sure that that's what we're seeing at this stage. I think certainly the North Koreans are having some internal discussions. They were a little bit surprised by this. They wouldn't have sent Kim all the way down to Vietnam if they had thought this was going to fall apart. And there's probably some real serious discussions between those in the military who say you can never trust the United States and we need to demonstrate our strength, and those who say, you know what, this is our one opportunity to break out of the box. We may never denuclearize, but we do have an opportunity to start establishing economic ties with the rest of the world.
So in 1 second, Rodger, we're not heading back to imminent threat of war?
I don't think at this moment that that's where we're going.
No. Okay, Rodger Baker, Stratfor, thanks very much.